The battlefield stretched across the gray plains of Variz Ix, a dead world once green before the wars. Ash fell from the sky like slow snow, landing softly on the broken armor of human soldiers. The air smelled of burned metal and rain. Captain Raylan Merrick adjusted his visor and looked toward the horizon. Static buzzed through his combs. "All units, hold your line," he ordered, his voice steady even as his pulse raced. He had fought many wars, but this one felt different. Quieter, heavier, like the planet itself was waiting for something. He wiped dust from the screen on his wristpad. Enemy signal. None detected. Strange. The Varen forces never stayed silent this long. Private Hall jogged up beside him. "Sir, scanners picked up something in orbit." "Fast entry." "It's not one of ours." Raylan frowned. "How far out?" "Less than a minute." He looked up. The clouds were swirling now, red streaks cutting through the gray sky. Then he heard it, a sound like thunder breaking open the heavens. A fiery streak tore downward, shaking the ground as it hit beyond the ridge. The shockwave knocked soldiers off their feet. Dust rolled across the trenches like a tidal wave. Raylan pulled himself up and shouted, "Stay in cover." "I'll check it out." He climbed the ridge with his rifle ready, boots sinking into the mud. When the smoke cleared, he froze. There, standing in the center of a burning crater, was a figure in silver-black armor, edges glowing faintly blue. The armor was smooth and alien, carved with sigils that shimmered like stars. The helmet opened slowly with a hiss, revealing a face he had not seen in years. Lyra, Vera, his ex-wife. Raylan's breath caught. It can't be. Her pale lavender skin still carried the same faint glow as before. Her silver eyes met his, calm and unreadable. She looked untouched by time and by guilt. The wind howled between them, carrying the faint whisper of energy from her armor. "Hello, Raylan," she said softly. Her voice was steady, but her eyes betrayed a storm. He lowered his weapon slowly. "You shouldn't be here. I had no choice." She stepped forward, and for a moment he thought she might reach for him, but then she looked past him, scanning the horizon. "They're coming," she said. "Who?" "The Varen." "My people?" Raylan's stomach twisted. "You're leading them?" Lyra shook her head. "Not anymore." Behind them, his radio crackled. "Captain, unknown contacts inbound, multiple dropships." Raylan cursed under his breath. "You brought them here." "No," she snapped. "They were already coming. You just don't understand yet." He aimed his rifle again. "Then make me understand." Lyra looked at him with something like sorrow. "The prophecy is awakening, Raylan. The war you think you're fighting isn't the real one." Before he could answer, the ground trembled. In the distance, dark shapes descended from the clouds, massive warships glowing red beneath the storm. Lyra's armor flared with light. "You have to move your soldiers now." "Why should I trust you?" "Because I'm the only one keeping them from killing you." She shouted. A beam of plasma tore through the ridge behind them, exploding in fire. Raylan ducked and rolled. Lyra raised her arm, and a shimmering blue shield flared into existence. Deflecting the next blast, the explosion lit her face, a perfect mix of fury and pain. Raylan stared at her, torn between anger and disbelief. "You saved me? Don't thank me yet." Another blast hit closer. She grabbed his wrist. "Run!" They sprinted down the ridge together as fire rained from the sky. Soldiers scattered, shouting. The ground shook with every impact. Raylan led her into a half-collapsed bunker. The metal doors slammed shut behind them. Inside, emergency lights flickered. Dust hung in the air. He turned to her. "Why now? After all these years?" Lyra removed her helmet completely. Her silver hair fell over her shoulders, glowing faintly in the red light. Because they've found it. Found what? The beacon of Concord, the weapon your people built and mine tried to destroy. Raylan frowned. That's a myth. Her eyes locked on his. No, Raylan. It's real. And whoever controls it will decide the fate of every world. For a moment, silence filled the bunker, except for the rumble of distant war. Then Lyra took a deep breath. There's something else you need to know. What? I didn't come here for the humans, she said softly. I came here for you. Raylan froze. Why? Before she could answer, the bunker shook violently. A plasma shell tore through the roof, and smoke flooded the room. Lyra grabbed his arm again. They found us. Raylan looked up at the fire raining from above, and saw her armor shift, reshaping around her body like living metal. She looked at him one last time, voice steady through the chaos. If we don't stop them together, there won't be a second chance. The ceiling collapsed. Light swallowed everything. The blast threw Captain Raylan Merrick across the bunker floor. Dust and sparks filled the air. His ears rang. All he could hear was the deep hum of collapsing steel. When his vision cleared, he saw Lyra standing in the middle of the chaos, her armor glowing bright silver, energy rippling around her like a storm made flesh. Her eyes shone pale white. She was using her combat core, the same power she once swore never to use again. Lyra, he shouted, coughing through the smoke. She didn't answer. She was holding the bunker roof up with a shimmering blue field. Move, she yelled. The supports are breaking. He grabbed his rifle and sprinted to her side. Together, they pushed through the narrow escape hatch as the bunker caved in behind them. The explosion painted the night sky orange dot outside. The battlefield was chaos. Varen drones swarmed the trenches, their metal wings slicing through smoke. Terran soldiers fired blindly, shouting orders that were lost in the roar of plasma fire. Raylan and Lyra slid behind a wrecked carrier for cover. His visor flickered with red alerts. We're surrounded. She retracted her helmet and looked around sharply. Not yet. Follow me. She moved fast, precise, the same way she had fought years ago when they were still married, before duty and war tore them apart. Raylan followed, his instincts kicking in. Every time he thought they'd be hit, she was already one step ahead, deflecting blasts with her shield or cutting through drones with energy blades. Since when do you fight for the Terrans again? He asked, reloading his rifle. Since I realized who the real enemy is, she said coldly. They reached an old Cums tower half buried in ash. Lyra knelt beside a cracked console, her armor interfacing with the system. We can use this to contact her command post. Raylan glanced at her. You could have just come through the front gate, you know. She gave him a look. You still think this is about you? After crashing into my war zone in full armor? Yeah, kind of. Her expression softened for just a heartbeat. Raylan, the beacon isn't just a weapon. It's a signal. A machine that rewrites loyalty. Whoever activates it can bend entire armies to their will. He frowned. And the Varen found it? She shook her head. No, they didn't. Someone else did. A Terran general named Draven Holt. Raylan froze. Holt? He died 10 years ago. Lyra's eyes glowed faintly. No, he didn't. He's alive, and he's building something called the Unity Signal. Raylan felt a chill run through him. You're saying this war, all of it, is his doing? Lyra looked straight at him. Yes, the Varen, the humans, every front. He's using the chaos to rebuild the beacon. And when it activates, every soldier in the galaxy will obey him. A nearby explosion shook the ground. The tower flickered with light as the system came online. Then we stop him, Raylan said. Lyra nodded slowly. Together. Like before. He stared at her, caught between anger and memory. You left me, Lara. No message. No goodbye. Her voice softened. Because if I stayed, they would have killed you. I made a choice to protect you, and I've regretted it every day since. For a moment, the battlefield noise faded. Only the wind and the low hum of her armor remained. Then the radio on his wrist buzzed. Captain Merrick, report. Are you alive? Raylan pressed the com. I'm here. We've got company, alien, friendly, complicated. Lyra smirked slightly. You always did have a way with words. Before he could reply, the sky split open again. A massive warship descending through the clouds, its engines burning blue. Lyra's face went pale. That's Holt's flagship. He found us. The warship's cannons glowed as they charged. The blast hit the ground nearby, throwing dust miles high. Raylan grabbed her hand. We need air support. No time, she said. Follow me. They sprinted toward the wrecked canyon ahead. The ground trembled as the ship's weapons fired again. Raylan shielded his face from the blast. Lyra stopped suddenly. Her armor's wrist screen flashed red. Raylan, look. Through the dust, human soldiers were fighting, but their eyes glowed faint blue. Their movements were mechanical, empty. Raylan's chest tightened. They're controlled. She nodded grimly. The Unity signal's already spreading. He looked at her. Then Holt doesn't need the beacon. He is the beacon. Lyra stepped forward, her armor glowing brighter. Then we cut the signal at its source, even if it kills us. Raylan raised his rifle, his old instincts flaring. You always did pick the impossible fights. And you always followed me into them, she said with a small smile. They turned to face the battlefield together, human soldiers under control of a mad general. Alien drones swarming above, fire cutting through the night. Raylan tightened his grip on his weapon. All right, ex-wife, he said. Let's save the galaxy again. She smiled faintly. Don't call me that when I'm wearing armor. Then they charged into the smoke. Side by side, human and alien, bound by war and something neither could forget. The wind howled over the ruined battlefield. Varese IX fires burned across the plains where metal met flesh, where men once thought themselves heroes. Now they were just echoes under the storm. Captain Raylan Merrick moved through the smoke, his rifle drawn, eyes sharp. Lyra Vera walked beside him, her armor flickering with fading energy, each step leaving blue sparks in the ash. Behind them, the Terran soldiers they had once fought beside were no longer human. Their eyes glowed a faint cyan, minds overwritten by the Unity signal. They moved like puppets, calm, coordinated, soulless. Raylan whispered, It's spreading faster than you said. Lyra's voice was quiet, regretful. He's not just transmitting a command anymore. He's rewriting will itself. Holt, Raylan muttered. The ghost who never died. They stopped behind a broken transport, taking cover as a wave of controlled soldiers passed by. Lyra closed her eyes, scanning their frequencies. The signal is strongest from orbit. His flagship, the Aegis Crown, is directly above us. Raylan glanced at her. And how do we reach it? She opened her eyes. You're not going to like it. He sighed. I never do. Lyra raised her wrist. A small hologram appeared, a transport signature buried beneath the canyon. There's an old Varan jump vessel here. If we reactivate it, we can board the Crown directly. Old tech? Raylan frowned. You trust it? Her eyes met his. I trust you. He looked away quickly, pretending to check his rifle. Let's just move. They crawled through the canyon ruins until they found it half buried in sand, an alien ship shaped like a crescent blade. It was sleeping, covered in vines and ash. Lyra touched its hull gently. The metal pulsed, recognizing her. The ship came alive, lighting up with faint blue veins. "It still remembers me," she said softly. Raylan smiled faintly. "Guess even ships hold grudges less than you do." She smirked. "Careful, Captain. You still owe me an apology from 6 years ago." Before he could reply, the ship's hatch opened with a hiss. The interior was silent, glowing faintly with bioluminescent light. They climbed in, and the doors sealed behind them. Lyra sat at the controls, her armor linking directly into the ship's systems. "Hold on," she said. Raylan braced himself as the ship rose silently into the dark sky. Through the cracked window, he saw the massive warship above the Aegis crown, like a floating city of steel and fire. "Looks like a god built it," he muttered. "More like a monster," she replied. They broke through the clouds. Energy shields shimmered across the crown's surface. Lyra's hands danced over the controls. "I'll slip us through the shield at the exact rotation window. But once we're inside, no mistakes." Raylan nodded. "We get in, find Holt, and end the signal." The ship jolted. Windows open now. They burst through the shield in a flash of light. The alarms immediately blared. "So much for stealth," Raylan grumbled. "Welcome home," Lyra said dryly. They landed hard in an empty hangar bay. As the ramp lowered, Raylan stepped out first, rifle raised. The ship's interior was dark, cold, alive with the hum of machines whispering in unison. He could hear faint voices, hundreds of them overlapping, repeating the same words. "Unity brings peace. Obey to be free." It sent a chill down his spine. Lyra walked beside him, her expression unreadable. "They're the connected ones." "Controlled by the signal," Raylan whispered. "And Holt?" "Center deck. He'll be waiting." They moved deeper through the halls, past motionless soldiers standing like statues. When one of them turned its head slightly, Raylan froze, then realized it was staring through him, not at him. Eyes open. He murmured "Dot" at the elevator shaft. They descended into the heart of the ship. The walls glowed with pulsing veins of light, like a living organism breathing in "Sync Dot" when the doors opened. The room was vast, a cathedral of technology. At its center stood a tall figure in dark armor, his back to them. "Draven Holt?" Raylan said coldly. The figure turned. His face was pale, almost translucent, his eyes the same blue as the controlled soldiers. Raylan Merrick, the war's last survivor. How poetic. Raylan aimed his rifle. "You're enslaving your own men." Holt smiled faintly. "Enslaving? No, I freed them from pain, from choice. You, of all people, should understand. You lost everything because of choice." Raylan's jaw tightened. "You turned soldiers into ghosts." Holt stepped closer, eyes gleaming. "And she helped me do it." Raylan froze. "What?" Holt looked at Lyra. "Tell him, my dear. Tell him who built the beacon's core." Lyra's breath caught. "Draven don't." Raylan turned slowly toward her. "Lyra?" Her voice shook. "Before I defected, I was part of the design team. I helped him make the beacon's seed. I didn't know what it would become, Raylan. I swear." His eyes burned with disbelief. "You built the thing that's killing us?" "I built it to stop wars," she said. "He twisted it." Holt smiled, spreading his hands. "Love and betrayal, the oldest story in the stars." Raylan aimed his rifle again. "And the signal, Holt." The man laughed softly. "It's already too late. The beacon isn't a machine anymore, it's alive. And right now, it's inside her." Lyra's armor suddenly flared. Blue light poured from her chest, spreading across the room. She gasped, stumbling back. Raylan caught her. "Lyra!" She looked up at him, tears in her glowing eyes. "He's right. I can feel it. The signal, it's in me." Holt's voice echoed through the chamber. "She is the final key, Raylan. When her heart stops beating, The galaxy becomes mine. Raylan tightened his grip on his weapon, standing between them. Then you'll have to go through me first. The room shook as alarms blared. Holt raised his hand, energy surging. So be it. Light exploded. Light filled the chamber like fire made of glass. The shockwave threw Captain Raylan Merrick across the floor, sparks showering from the ceiling. Every machine screamed as energy overloaded the ship's core dot. At the center of the chaos stood Lyra Vera, her armor glowing white-blue, eyes burning with the same light. Her voice trembled. Raylan, I can hear them. All of them. He forced himself up, coughing through smoke. Fight it, Lyra. Don't let him in. Across the platform, Dravenholt extended his hands. The circuits in his armor flared like veins of lightning. You can't fight unity. The beacon's will is absolute. Lyra's body convulsed as the signal spread through her veins. Images flashed in her mind, cities burning, fleets kneeling, planets silenced. She dropped to her knees, clutching her chest. Raylan ran to her side, gripping her shoulders. Stay with me? Her voice broke. I was meant to end wars, not become one. Holt's laughter echoed. You were always meant to be the vessel. I only guided destiny. Raylan raised his rifle and fired. The blast struck Holt's chest, but his armor absorbed it, energy swirling around him. You still think bullets can kill gods? Holt sneered. Raylan's jaw tightened. I never needed bullets to kill monsters. He charged forward, dodging a beam that scorched the wall beside him. Holt struck back with a surge of energy, sending Raylan crashing into a console. Sparks exploded around him. Lyra screamed. Her armor's light flared brighter, shaking the whole chamber. The walls pulsed as if alive, responding to her pain. Holt smiled, spreading his arms. Yes, my dear. Feel it. Let it consume you. Raylan struggled to stand. Lyra, remember who you are. She looked at him through the haze, memories flooding her mind. The first time they met. The day she left. The day she almost told him she still loved him. Her breathing steadied. I remember. The glow in her armor changed from cold blue to warm gold. Holt's smile faded. What are you doing? Lyra stood tall, her voice firm. Taking back what you stole. Energy burst from her like a heartbeat. The pulse hit Holt's armor, cracking its surface. He staggered back, eyes wide. No, you can't control it. Lyra stepped forward, her power steady, calm. I was never your weapon. Raylan joined her side, aiming his rifle again. And she was never yours to command. Together, they advanced, light and fire against the storm. Holt roared and unleashed his full power, but Lyra raised her hand. A golden shield spread out, swallowing the blast. The chamber's floor began to collapse. The Aegis crown groaned under the strain. Raylan shouted over the chaos. If this ship goes, the signal dies with it. Lyra turned to him, her face softening. Then we finish this here. Holt's armor cracked again. His voice was filled with fury and fear. You'll destroy yourselves. Raylan smiled grimly. Then we die free. He leapt forward, firing one last shot directly into Holt's chest. The blast connected with Lyra's energy surge, creating a shockwave so bright it swallowed the room in gold. For a moment, everything was silent. Then came the sound of shattering glass, the beacon's control crystal breaking apart. The light faded. Holt fell to his knees, smoke rising from his armor. You fools. You've doomed us all. Raylan staggered to his feet, looking around. Lyra? She was kneeling, exhausted, her armor dimming. It's over. The signal's gone. Alarms blared. The ship's reactor was failing. Raylan grabbed her hand. We have to go. She shook her head weakly. The beacon's core is still connected to me. If I leave, it reignites. No, he said firmly. We're leaving together. She smiled sadly. Always stubborn? He knelt beside her, refusing to let go. You saved the galaxy. Now let me save you. The floor cracked beneath them as explosions tore through the chamber. Lyra lifted her free hand, touching his face. You were the only choice I ever made for myself. Lyra, don't. She kissed him softly. Goodbye, Raylan. The glow in her chest intensified. Brighter, purer, unstoppable. Raylan's voice broke. No. A single tear fell from her eyes as she whispered, Live. The explosion swallowed the room. When Raylan awoke, he was lying in a wrecked escape pod drifting above the planet. The stars outside were calm again. His tongue crackled with voices, human, alien. Both free at last. He looked out the window at the burning remains of the Aegis crown. A golden light shimmered faintly among the debris, fading. But beautiful, Raylan whispered. She kept her promise. The pod drifted silently through the stars. He closed his eyes, a memory of her voice echoing in his mind. If we don't stop them together, there won't be a second chance. He smiled faintly. You did it, Lyra. The pod vanished into the light of dawn. The silence of space was endless. Wreckage from the Aegis crown drifted slowly through the light of a dying sun. Inside one small escape pod, Captain Raylan Merrick sat alone, staring at the stars. The bruises on his face had faded, but the ache in his chest hadn't. Every beep of the console felt too loud. Too empty. He replayed the last image in his mind. Lyra Vera, glowing with golden light, smiling through the chaos as she sacrificed herself to stop the signal. That image lived behind his eyes now, brighter than any star. The pod's tongue crackled. This is Terran Command. Identify yourself. Raylan leaned toward the mic. Captain Merrick, ID 7463. Mission complete. Static. In a new voice, trembling with disbelief. Sir, we thought you were dead. The fleets. They're free again. A signal vanished. He looked out at the scattered debris. She did it, he whispered. Lyra did it. A moment of silence. Then the voice said softly, We'll bring you home, Captain. But home felt like a word from another lifetime. 3 days later, the med bay on Fort Elysium was filled with light and the hum of healing drones. Raylan sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the sunrise through the wide glass window. Below, soldiers, human and alien alike, worked side by side to rebuild what was left of Ares Ix. A nurse entered quietly. Sir, the council's waiting for your report. He nodded. They can wait a few more minutes. On the table beside him lay a small silver shard, a piece of Lyra's armor recovered from orbit. It still faintly glowed. He touched it gently. You really loved this stupid planet, didn't you? The nurse smiled softly before leaving him alone again. Outside, shuttles moved through the sky, carrying both Terran and Veran refugees. The war was finally over, but peace felt strange, fragile, like glass that could break at any sound. The council room Raylan stood before a holographic circle of Terran and Varan leaders. The tension was thick. Old enemies sitting side by side was still new. Admiral Drex leaned forward. You're saying Dravenholt is dead? Raylan nodded. His ship was destroyed. The beacon network's gone. Every controlled soldier is free. General Varan, a tall alien with silver skin, tilted his head. And the woman who ended it? Raylan hesitated. She was one of yours once. She died saving us all. The room went silent. And the general bowed his head. Then her name will be remembered among both peoples. Raylan said nothing. His throat was too tight to speak. Later, Outside the base, the evening light turned gold over the rebuilt colony. Raylan walked alone toward the edge of the landing field. The sky shimmered with two suns setting together, one red, one white. He carried the small armor shard in his hand. When the wind caught it, the light danced across his face. A voice echoed softly in his comb. "Captain Merrick, you might want to see this." He turned. A young soldier stood beside a small beacon transmitter, the same kind Lyra had once worked on. The screen flickered, showing a weak energy pulse repeating in rhythm. 3 short, 1 long, 3 short. Raylan frowned. "That's not random. It started right after the solar flare passed," the soldier said. "We thought it was interference, but the pattern keeps repeating." Raylan's heart pounded. He recognized that code, their old mission signal. He stared at the stars. "It's her." The soldier blinked. "Sir?" Raylan smiled faintly. "Lyra used to say stars never really die. They just send their light a little slower." He took the small shard and pressed it against the transmitter. The signal flared brighter for a moment, then settled into a steady glow. Somewhere far beyond known space, in the dark between systems, a faint golden light blinked back once, twice, then faded. Raylan closed his eyes, smiling through tears. "Yeah, I see you." 1 week later, the galaxy began to heal. Human engineers worked with Veran scientists to rebuild shattered colonies. The fleets that once fired on each other now escorted refugee ships together, and in the middle of it all, stories began to spread of the alien woman in silver armor who saved them all, and the human captain who never stopped believing in her. Some said she became a signal among the stars. Others said her soul lived in the golden light that guided lost ships home. Raylan never corrected them, not at night. He'd sit by the observation deck, looking at the same constellation where the Aegis crown once burned. Sometimes he swore he could hear her voice in the static, soft, calm, and familiar. "You were always the stubborn one, Raylan." He smiled every time. "And you were always the brave one, Lyra." The stars shimmered brighter, as if answering. The war had ended. The galaxy had begun again. Dot, and somewhere, in the quiet between worlds, her light still echoed, a reminder that even in the darkest war, love could rewrite the stars.